Hey Dolphins fans, welcome to another edition of Finstock Today. I'm your host, Bobby Melendez. On this very special edition of Finstock Today, we are now just one day away from the NFL Draft. I will be presenting you with my final 7-round mock draft for the Miami Dolphins. Let's get this started. Of course, let's discuss the first 5 picks in the NFL Draft, what I project could happen. With the first overall pick, I got Jacksonville obviously taking Trevor Lawrence. That's an easy pick. I don't care what Urban Meyer says. Second overall pick is Zach Wilson to the New York Jets. The San Francisco 49ers, I know now Trey Lance is getting steam up there, but I'm going to stick with Mac Jones. The 4th overall pick, they go Kyle Pitts. I'm sad to say I want Kyle Pitts, and I hope he does fall. I hope they trade out of there to get a quarterback, but Kyle Pitts to the Atlanta Falcons. 5th overall pick, Cincinnati. They could go Penei Sewell here. However, I got them going Jamar Chase. They reunite their receiver with their college quarterback. Now at the 6th overall pick, of course, Miami could trade down. They could trade down to Denver. They could trade down to the New England Patriots at 15. Washington at 19 or even 20 to Chicago Bears. However, I think Miami would rather stick in the top 10. Excuse me. I'd rather stick up in the top 10. And but I don't see at this point, from what I'm understanding, that the Broncos, if Trey Lance and Justin Fields are still on the board at 6, may not want to move at that point. They may want to just sit there and see what happens at the 9th overall pick. So Miami sticks at 6. And with the 6th overall pick, I have the Miami Dolphins selecting Jaylen Waddle, wide receiver out of Alabama. I know for some people that might not be a popular pick. However, this guy can contribute right away for the Miami Dolphins. He fits perfectly in their offense and what they can do with the receiving core that they have. He could play special teams as a kick returner, a punt returner. He can obviously run the ball as well. He did that in Alabama. If you look at his 2020 stats, his 2019 stats, I know they're very unimpressive for some people. However, in 2020, he only played 5 games. In 2019, he was buried behind the depth chart with, of course, players like Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, and Devontae Smith. In 2020, he had, in 5 games, 28 receptions, 591 yards, 4 touchdowns, and averaged 21.1 yards average per catch. He's an explosive player, guys, with breakaway speed. He's out of 11 out of 20 career touchdowns. He went for 50-plus yards. Great route runner. He sells the double move. He can adjust to the ball on a bad throw, which is good for Tua, who's still developing, who hopefully he looks great, and he hopefully has a better year. But that's great for a young quarterback, for a player who knows how to run. He's not, he sees the ball going somewhere else, he could run to that route. Can contribute right away on offense and special teams. He had a 19.3 yard career punt return average with 2 touchdowns. If Miami goes with Jaylen Waddle, Miami can't go wrong at 6, first of all. If they get Kyle Pitts, that's awesome. I want Kyle Pitts. They go Jaylen Waddle, that's great. Devontae Smith, great. Jamar Chase, amazing. Miami can't go wrong here. However, I see the better fit is Jaylen Waddle. I don't think it's an accident that Tony Pauline and these other very reliable NFL insiders have Jaylen Waddle and Kyle Pitts as the 1-2 for Miami at 6. And I think it's Jaylen Waddle because Pitts is off the board. The 18th overall pick for the Dolphins, and this mock draft, I actually have them trading down. The way the draft plays out, there's a lot of good players still on the board. Miami takes advantage of that, and they trade down to the Cleveland Browns' 26th overall pick. With that pick, they acquired, the 26th, the 91st overall pick, and the 132nd overall pick. With the 26th overall pick, the Miami Dolphins addressed their defense. Savan Collins, linebacker out of Tulsa. A player who I think would fit perfectly in Brian Flores' defense. In 2020, he had 54 total tackles, 4 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 4 interceptions. This guy is 6'5", 259 pounds. This guy is a great coverage linebacker. We need a guy, for years we say this, we need a guy who can cover the tight ends, especially now with New England, who have Jonnu Smith from the Tennessee Titans and Hunter Henry from the Los Angeles Chargers. They're going back to that 2 tight end system. Miami needs to be prepared for that because we know how much they can struggle against the tight ends. They get a linebacker who can do that right away. Great coverage linebacker. He can read the quarterback and slide into passing lanes. He's a freaky athlete for a linebacker. He's a 3-year starter who's had consistent production in his college career. It hasn't been up and down. He's always been a very good player. And again, I think he can fit well in Brian Flores' defense. He goes to the 26th overall pick for the Dolphins. Now, the next pick with Miami would be the 36th overall pick. However, in this mock draft, the Dolphins trade back up. They trade into the 29th overall pick with the Green Bay Packers. They send the Packers the 36th and 91st overall pick, And with the 29th overall pick, they get Javonte Williams, halfback out of North Carolina. Najee Harris at this point is taken by the Pittsburgh Steelers, so that option ain't there. The only options here is Javonte Williams and Travis Etienne. They go Javonte Williams. He is 5'10", 220 pounds, and 2020 he had 157 attempts, rushing attempts, 1,140 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 7.3 yards per carry. He's a big, powerful back who isn't afraid of contact, usually breaks the first tackle, patient runner with great vision. He's a very good, reliable pass catcher. He runs good routes out of the backfield. He has plenty of thread on the tires, guys. He only has 366 rushing attempts in his young college career, and that would be great for Miami as they continue, as they would look to run with him, and of course Myles Gaskin, the running back by committee. This is a player who could probably last longer than your traditional running back drafted out of college. Let's compare his rushing attempts with Najee Harris. Now, the next pick for the Dolphins, of course, would be the 50th overall pick. But however, again, in this mock, they've of course moved out from the 36th overall pick to move to 29. The next pick would be 50, but they trade up again in the second round. They go from 50 to 40. They trade with the Denver Broncos, who again has been rumored to who have talked with the Dolphins. Of course, everybody projects that Miami would trade up or down in the first round, but here they don't. They looks like they move around in the second round with the Denver Broncos. They trade up the 50th overall pick and the 2022 third round pick to move to pick 40, and they take interior offensive lineman Landon Dickinson out of Alabama. 6'6", 333 pounds, has the ability to play center or guard in the pros, strong, quick to adjust to the rush, vocal leader on the field, and he's a first round prospect who falls due to injury concerns. I know that's a report that just came out as well, that he may even fall past the second round. But Miami looks to get him here, and he can end up being the best interior offensive lineman in this draft if he remains healthy. I think this would be a huge pickup for Miami. I know we got Matt Skura, but Landon Dickinson, of course, could start at guard, could compete for guard and start at guard, while Matt Skura is the starter for center, at least for the first year. Now we go to pick 81 in the NFL draft for the Dolphins. Dolphins go defense again. This time they go edge rusher. They get Jordan Smith out of UAB. 6'6", massive athlete, 255 pounds. He had 42 total tackles, 4.5 sacks, and he had 1 interception. He's a massive player with freakish length and flexibility, a very good motor, loads of production during his 2-year tenure at UAB, and he has very good burst to get past the offensive lineman. This is a very exciting player, and Miami would fit well with Brian Flores. Of course, you got to develop him, and he could eventually play with Emmanuel Ogbah or replace him after this season. Pick 156, we stick with defense. Cornerback, Michigan, AMbry Thomas, 6 foot, 183 pounds. It's a pick that I stuck with for my first mock draft for the Dolphins. 38 total tackles, 3 interceptions, 2 fumble recoveries. Very good recognition while moving in the zone, physical and run support. Very good wrap-up tackler. Can contribute on special teams right away. That's big for a late round pick, and I think he could fit eventually, especially if Miami trades Xavier Howard, which is kind of gaining steam. Pick 156. Another player that I had in my previous mock draft to the Dolphins, and I'm not moving this one. Divine Diabolo, strong safety, Virginia Tech. 6'3", 226 pounds, 55 total tackles, 4 interceptions, 4 pass defended, and 1 forced fumble. He plays the safety position, but he's built like a linebacker. Good awareness on route development, can pressure the quarterback as well as read his eye to get the interception. He's a heavy hitter, and he's another player who can contribute on special teams. Look for that theme with the Dolphins later in the draft. 231. We're now in the 7th round of the NFL draft. The Miami Dolphins go back offense here. They go with Jacob Harris, tight end, Central Florida. 6'5", 219 pounds, 30 receptions, 539 yards, 8 touchdowns with an 18 yards per catch average. Played receiver in college, but he projects as a tight end in the pros. He has elite size, explosive speed, averaged 20 yards per catch in his college career. He's a very reliable pass catcher. He could develop to be better and could turn out to be a hidden gem in this draft. We go on to the 244th overall pick. Now this pick, of course, if you've been paying attention, the Washington football team acquired Eric Flowers from the Miami Dolphins, and they swapped 7th round picks. So now the Dolphins have actually moved up in the 7th round. With the 7th round pick, the Dolphins actually get a rare position here, and they draft Ben Mason, fullback out of Michigan. He is 6'3", 246 pounds. Last season, he, in regards of stats, rushing or receiving, he only had 2 receptions for 17 yards and a touchdown. Miami doesn't have Chandler Cox. He is a free agent. So with this pick, they address the fullback position. He's built like a linebacker because he's played linebacker. He played linebacker, defensive line, and fullback. He does anything the coach asks him, and we know that's important with Brian Flores. He rushed for 7 touchdowns in 2018, and we know that when I talked about the 2020 stats, it sounds very unimpressive. However, he's a fullback. He's a decent blocker. He can get better. Remember, he's a 7th round pick. However, as a rusher in 2018, when they were putting him in short yardage situations, he actually had 7 touchdowns, which is very good and something that Miami could use as well. He's a decent blocker, can get better, but can also become a core special teams player if he, of course, a late 7th round pick, makes the team. But I think it could happen, especially with that position when unless Miami can sign a veteran. Guys, I love mock drafts. However, I'm sick of them too. We want to get to tomorrow night. The NFL draft is finally here. I look forward to, again, 6th overall pick. If Miami trades a 9 and gets a player, that's great. I love trade downs. Get as much picks as possible. The job is to build around Tua Tagovailoa. Now, if Miami, of course, goes Kyle Pitts, if Kyle Pitts is there, I'm ecstatic. That's amazing. We get Jamar Chase. That's amazing. That's an alpha receiver. Devontae Smith, Jaylen Waddle, you can't lose. Miami is in a win-win situation here. I know right now it's gaining steam that Penei Sewell could be the pick at 6. I just don't see it. I'm not against it, but I just don't see it. Miami, I think they could address that later in the draft, and I think they could go veteran, an offensive tackle in the free agency. We'll see. But guys, enough of the smoke screens, enough of the rumors. This was the final mock draft. Mock drafts are finished. Let's get to the NFL draft. Continue watching DolphinsTalk.com YouTube coverage. I will be reacting to the picks as well. Follow me on Twitter at BobbyFinsTalk. Follow the show at FinsTalk today on Twitter as well at Dolphins Talk for all the coverage for the special draft coverage. And of course, check out the website DolphinsTalk.com. Guys, if you like the show, like and subscribe. Comment below. Tell me what you think Miami's going to do. Tell me what you'd rather have Miami do. Would you be okay with a trade down? Would you rather not? Who would be the best pick for Miami in your opinion? Let's get the discussion going. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Can't wait for the draft. Can't wait to join you and what we think about or give you reactions to the draft. We'll see you Thursday night.